Welcome to Down to Business with V, a show dedicated to bringing you actionable information to help protect you, your families, your businesses, and the community. I'm your host V, and today we're discussing cyber savvy kids and how they're protecting families online. We've called in a cybersecurity expert to give you tips on raising cyber savvy kids and how you can implement the tips and tricks in your own families and bring these conversations to your dinner table. And as always, we'll discuss what to do if you're a victim. Let's get down to business. From Atlanta, Georgia, to becoming a United States Marine, to Washington, D.C., and every place in between. Everybody calls me V. My goal is to bring you resources, education, and knowledge from sources you can trust that informs and protects to safeguard our families, our businesses, and the community. Now let's get down to business. Welcome to Down to Business with V. I'm your host, V, and today we're discussing how cyber savvy kids are keeping families safe online. Today I have in the studio with me via Zoom cybersecurity expert Laura Baker. Laura is the co-founder and executive director of CyberWoming and president of the CyberWoming Alliance, which comprises of multiple programs designed to help average citizens and Wyoming companies, in fact, to manage security risks. Some of their programs include CyberWoming's cybersecurity competition for small businesses and an apprenticeship program for tech professions. Citizens programs include a weekly publication called The Hacker's Brief. She also has senior fraud alert flyers and the annual cybersecurity conference, along with the cyber safety video challenge for school students. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you for having me on today.
Thank you so much for being with us. So Laura, if you would tell us and our audience a little bit about yourself, what got you into cybersecurity and how CyberWoming, the Alliance, started.
So about 6 years ago, I attended a conference and I realized that everybody at the conference scared the living daylights out of everybody that spoke scared the living daylights out of the audience. And it wasn't the effective methods that they thought they had. So we decided to take a little bit different tactic and we started a nonprofit because we don't sell hardware, software, or implementation services. So the trust is there. We're not trying to sell them anything. And we felt that there was a more positive way to help people manage their security risks. And so that's what the initial thought was at the very beginning. And it's just, blossomed from there, from, one philosophy to multiple programs.
I think that's awesome, Laura, and great work that you're doing there with both organizations. We've seen a lot on the cybersecurity landscape, and like you said, sometimes the language is a little outside of the wheelhouse of average everyday citizens. So we like to kind of bring it home for them. I love what you're doing with the students. Let's talk about some of the risks that our youth face when it comes to cybersecurity and information security, and how CyberWoming is tackling that.
Sure. So here's a great example. There was a young man, probably, I think he was in upper grade school, middle school. His parents called and said, he's been hacked. All of his videos have been hacked. His YouTube account has been taken over. And these were not things that I faced as a child at all. I mean, if we had any sort of bullying or account takeover, that was, it was maybe because we gave our debit card to, a friend and they stole our PIN. That was the biggest thing that might have happened in my generation. So this generation, I mean, they're online more. They're using lots of different apps, and they're gaming a lot more than we did. I mean, I'm dating myself, but the Atari and Pac-Man were pretty big in my time.
So the challenges definitely for this generation are much different than previous generations. Let's talk about the cybersecurity challenge and how that, the video challenge, the Cyber in a Box school video challenge, and how that is preparing students in your region to face, some of the things that they're facing in a more educated way.
Absolutely. So we challenge the Cyber in a Box School Video Challenge started as kind of an idea in a committee that we're on called the Wyoming CAN Committee. And CAN stands for Cybersecurity Action Network. It's 100% volunteer, it's grassroots. And we decided that, and one of the members of the CAN committee is also the Wyoming State Library. So we decided as IT professionals and bank representatives and insurance agents across the state, not everybody was technical, that we wanted to create videos that were understandable, that would demystify some of the terms that you just said, is tech speaks different than regular speak. And so we started that, and then we thought, maybe we should take this and get it down into the school level. So we wrote a grant, Cyber Wyoming Alliance was charged to write a grant, and we got it through the Rocky Mountain Power Foundation and the Cybersecurity Youth Apprenticeship Initiative. And what we ended up doing was sending out a challenge to middle schools and high schools statewide saying, make a cyber safety video that your grandma would enjoy.
Yes.
And humor was encouraged for sure. That was one of the big things, as you said, make sure it's funny. And feel free to use topics that maybe your peers have faced as well. I mean, but it's something that maybe we wanted to encourage multi-generational. We wanted to encourage discussions at the dinner table. And really that's where cyber safety should be discussed. I mean, we discuss financial stability at the dinner table. Sometimes we discuss physical safety at the dinner table. We should also be discussing cyber safety. So that was the whole point. And each team, because of the grant, got $100. And so some of those were pizza money for video editing sessions, and some bought cameras so that they would have a little bit more, and some paid for, copyrighted material or whatever, and or maybe editing software. And they all got t-shirts as well.
I love that, Laura. We got to see quite a few of the video submissions that came in for the Cyber in a Box video challenge. When I tell you the kids were super creative, they were informative, their topics were right on, on task with, our federal agencies as well as, every cybersecurity agency around the globe when it comes to facts and how things should be handled in the cyber realm to stay safe. They did such an amazing job. We won't get to see all of them today. We'll preview one later in the show. But they did a great job. Can you talk to us about the innovation that you saw, as well as some of the feedback you got from your students during the challenge?
Oh, absolutely. The innovation, like you said, was off the charts. I was so amazed. There were some that I laughed out loud. There were others that I was just so impressed because they learned new animation tools. We warned a lot of them. We said, if you're going to go on camera, make sure you have fake glasses or maybe a different hairstyle or something so that you're not as easily identifiable, of course. And so that's what they did. The ones that actually acted out their scenarios, they wore costumes, or they took only side shots. And then the ones that used, there were several teams that used animators that they had never used before. And they did a fabulous job. There was one about romance scams. And they truly did make that one for their parents and grandparents that might be single, which it was an enjoyable video. And then there were some that integrated movies and editing and took different shots that were so creative. I mean, I thought, wow, some of these kids could actually be film editors one day, or maybe producers.
For sure. Yeah, we looked at the videos that were sent in, and when I tell you, there were a few of them that made me laugh as well.
For sure.
But all of them, like I said, were on point, on target, sharing facts, data that the everyday citizen would definitely need to know. And I love that you said that the discussion about these things, cybersecurity and information security, should be happening at the dinner table. This show originated because there were things not being discussed at the dinner table. We were only hearing these in intelligence briefs, these types of scenarios. As a result of the ransomware attacks that we've heard, in recent months and, in the last couple of years, it's made, conversation at the dinner table. But prior to that, there weren't topics like this in general just being discussed. So I love that you're bringing it home, and you're bringing it home through the students, which in a lot of cases have more impact in the household than what the conversations are surrounding than parents in some cases. So taking that message through the kids, I think, is absolutely amazing. When we come back from the break, Laura, I want you to tell us a little more about the Cyber in a Box video challenge, what CyberWoming is doing in the CyberWoming Alliance, what you're doing and what you have planned. And we're also going to look at some of the content that was created to warn about gaming safety for students and adults that are online. So when we come back, we're going to see all of that and more. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Down to Business with V. I'm your host, V, and today we're discussing how cyber-savvy kids are keeping families safe online. We have in the studio with us today cybersecurity expert Laura Baker. Laura is the co-founder and executive director of CyberWoming and president of CyberWoming Alliance, which comprises of multiple programs that are helping business owners as well as families and individuals in her region and her community. Welcome back, Laura. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Wonderful. And Laura, for those that might have missed our first segment, can you just give us a brief recap of what the Cyber in a Box video challenge is and how it's helping students and families in your area?
Absolutely. So the Cyber in a Box School video challenge is a challenge to encourage middle school and high school students to create a cyber safety video that would entertain their grandma as well as their peers. So we're looking at multi-generational. Each team gets $100 in t-shirts. And last year, the teams were pretty amazing because there were a lot of club teams, and you wouldn't necessarily think that the future farmers of America would necessarily make a cyber safety video, but they did.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I love that you said in our first segment, this is helping to, number one, make a video that is understandable and is able to be enjoyed by a grandmother or a senior, an elder in the family, as well as bringing home real world facts about cybersecurity, information security, and how we can keep our families safe. I also love that you said that the discussion should be held at the dinner table, and this is what your challenge is able to do, is bring a robust but conversation that any generation within the family can enjoy and participate in. So I love that. So we're going to take a look at some of the innovation that the kids did. Like I said in the first segment, they were so creative. It was delightful looking at the videos. Some of them literally made me laugh out loud. So we're going to take a look at gaming safely, one of the videos that was created by students that participated in Laura's challenge. And we're going to see some of the innovation as well as the tips that they provide about safety, cyber safety online. Let's take a look. That was absolutely awesome. So Laura, we saw in this video, gaming safely, students creating a whole lot of fun, showing a hacker trying to hack into a gamer's profile, interact with them, and get information. Give us just a brief recap of what you and the team, as you saw and judged this content. What did you see there?
Well, that video actually got funniest out of all of the videos. And what I really liked was not only were they setting up the hacking scene with this, as the kids would say today, this sick setup, at the very beginning, but then they showed the average student that might be gaming online and inputting his IP address, and then the referee comes and throws his yellow flag. So they brought in lots of different interests, sports, not using your mom's credit card number. And it was really fun. And I just think that in a 2-minute video, they did a fabulous job.
They did. They did. I loved at the very end. I'm a big football fan anyway. I love the NFL. But when he runs in at the end and says personal foul,
Yeah.
I love it. So lots of fun. They did a great job and brought home the points of not putting your IP address or sharing that publicly in a domain like that, not sharing credit card information, and touching on what malicious actors are looking for and how they're preying on other gamers within the gaming environment. Just highlighting a few of those best practices in a way I think that can be enjoyed. And you know what I love too is that the students share this information, they'll be sharing with their peers. So, sometimes I think they think, oh, the older adults, they don't know what they're talking about. But if it's coming from a peer as well, I think it kind of reinforces the message about what can be done and what can be done safely in those gaming environments and how to avoid fraud in those environments. So
absolutely.
Awesome.
And then we actually had a virtual premiere, so all the students got to see everybody else's videos, and it was a private just for students and teachers and the sponsors of the program. But some of the teams actually brought popcorn, and we played Name That Tune in between the videos, and it was a lot of fun. We had quite a few people show up to that, virtually, of course.
Yes, sounds like fun. There were some other submissions, and all of them had a lesson in cybersecurity and information security best practices. Interview with Alexa was one of my other favorites. Can you tell us a little bit about what the message was in the interview with Alexa video?
Yeah, we've all heard that, voice recognition tools at home may or may not be secure. We've heard about them being hacked, and they really don't have antivirus on them. They're part of the Internet of Things family. And so I was really happy that they brought some of this technology into the videos. And basically he interviewed an Alexa device and in a talk show environment. So he hung a background, had a plant, had 2 seats. One of the seats was an actual Alexa, and he asked Alexa about her security. And then when he didn't want Alexa to hear what he was saying about her, he went like this, and he put a bowl over her. It made me laugh out loud. It was great.
Yeah, that one was pretty funny. But like you said, sharing best practices on the fact that, these voice recognition softwares are constantly working in those environments. And if we aren't careful, we could be giving away information, about our vital statistics, that we might not want shared in any, or recorded in any other location than our own preferences. So very, very interesting. And then there was the other one about the password manager, which I also thought was funny. Tell our viewers what this one was about and some of the best practices there.
This was by the youngest team in the entire challenge, and they were actually in grade school. They dressed up, they acted it out. They even named their video "Insecure Passworditis," and it starts out with the younger sibling looking at his tablet saying, "Oh no, my stinky sister changed my save screen to a princess again." And so then the sister comes in, and she's in a doctor's uniform and with glasses, and says, "You have a case of insecure passworditis." And then she actually went through on a whiteboard talking about how to create a good password using characters and symbols, capitals and lowercase letters, having a longer password. And I really thought that was pretty great.
Yeah, all best practices, things that we're taught in corporate settings and things that we're teaching in corporate settings about passwords and how to make it as complex and unhackable as possible. So they did a great job. When I say a great job, a great job. So Laura, for those of our viewers that want to see the videos that we couldn't air today for the sake of time, how would they go about viewing those?
CyberWoming Alliance has a YouTube channel, and you're welcome to go out and look at them there. They are in a playlist from Cyber in a Box. And then the Wyoming State Library's website has posts these on a monthly basis. We're only releasing them one time in a month, but the ones that we've discussed today are in the queue or have been already released.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I know also, Laura, you said that this program that you've built within CyberWoming, the CyberWoming Alliance, these are tools and resources that you would love to see expanded in other regions. If there are viewers in our audience that want to take this program or something like it and implement it in their region, in their city, how would they do so?
That's a really great question. I'm so glad you asked. We provide the materials that we learned from last year for free. All they have to do is contact us at info@cyberwyoming.org. And we'll share what we've learned on how, like the memo that we sent to the Wyoming Department of Education and that they published and released, how we got to the clubs, some of our promotional through our email blasts. We'll share all of that with them if they'd like. And we have it in just a zip file that we'll send to them, and they can edit it and make it theirs. The program costs about $8,000 a year to run for 20 teams. And we're fundraising for it right now for the 2022-2023 year. So just plan in your budget. It costs about that much. And that includes, some of the administrative time. You're hurting some cats because it's a busy school year. These kids are also in, basketball and wrestling and all sorts of stuff like that. But it's totally worth it. And it's a lot of fun. And when you see the videos at the end and we had a video expert who had basically dedicated his life to creating documentaries and videos, review the videos. And then we had some IT professionals review them as well. And when you start reviewing those and creating the categories of awards, we didn't actually we gave them money up front, so we didn't give them money at the end. But the categories of the awards, we really tried to keep that sense of humor going. So for instance, that interview with an Alexa got Best Talk Show. So our judges were allowed to go offline and give awards based on some of the different based on categories that they made up themselves. And I loved that.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Well, Laura, what would you say to, as we're closing up, we've only got about 2 minutes left in the segment. What would you say to people that either their children or their families have been a victim of fraud? What would you say to them in how they can find recourse?
So definitely contact your local law enforcement. They'll guide you through the process. But there are some national programs out there that you can take advantage of, especially once you get through the weeds and get through the to-dos. You might have some, long-term stress related anxiety based on having your identity stolen or being the victim of fraud. And there is a fabulous program out there through AARP, and it's for any age, and it's called the REST program, and it's a peer-led victim support program. So definitely think about that. Other local resources, your state attorney general's office may have some consumer protection resources that they can help you with. And definitely, if it's a large sum that was lost, report it to the FBI at ic3.gov. You can also report fraud to the Federal Trade Commission at their complaints department.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Laura Baker, co-founder and executive director of CyberWoming and CyberWoming Alliance. Thank you so much for being with us today and sharing all of the wonderful content. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate this.
Thank you to our guest, Laura Baker, co-founder and executive director of CyberWoming and president of the CyberWoming Alliance. Thank you so much for your expertise and all that you shared here today. If you or someone you know has been a victim of cybercrime, fraud, a data breach of any type or kind, be sure to reach out to your local police department or contact the FBI at ic3.gov. We'd like to thank our sponsors today, Vicar Group. They are business consultants for Generation U. You can reach them at www.vicargroup.com. Thank you so much, Vicar Group, for all that you do on a daily basis. And last but not least, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, if you have show ideas, or if you'd like to sponsor the show, be sure to reach out to us at info@dtbwithv.com. We'd like to thank our crew today for making this show possible. We couldn't do it without you. Hannah, Eric, Peter, Stephen, Doug, and Suzanne, thank you for all that you do. I am your host, V. This is Down to Business with V. We'll see you next time.